Hello, everyone. Hello, our dear guests and our dear followers. This year, we celebrate IEEE Day with an exciting panel, a joint organization by IEEE Turkey Young Professionals Affinity Group and IEEE Turkey Women in Engineering Affinity Groups. We will discuss global predictions, future plans, and strategies of YP and WIE during this panel. My name is Murat Yazıcı, IEEE Turkey Young Professionals Treasurer and Secretary, and Karden Büyüktanır Aktar, IEEE WIE Vice Chair. Today we are moderate our panel, and we are with Professor Dr. Fatih Urda, IEEE Turkey Section Chair, and Vice Chair Tuncer Baykaş, Dr. Tuncer Baykaş. Now we can go on with opening speech of today. Now, Professor Urda, we can continue with you.
Thanks, Murat. So welcome everybody. Like Murat said, my name is Fatih Urda. I'm the section chair of IEEE Turkey. Thank you for spending time with us tonight. I'm here with our vice chair, Tuncer Baykaş, who's going to say a few things also after me. So maybe I can talk about IEEE Turkey a little bit. We were established in 1990. Actually, the student organization was established even a year before that in 1989. Right now we have 1,700 members approximately. They are like half and half in terms of student members and professional members. We have, I believe, 17 chapters, including affinity groups. So we are a big family within the even bigger family of Region 8. So today the panel is about post-COVID world and how it's going to shape up our activities. I took part in, or at least as an audience, I took part in a few webinars that visited this issue, that talked about this issue. I basically heard that in the post-COVID world, we're going to have more webinars. We're going to have, basically, we're going to do more research on health sciences. Those are obvious, but I think we're still scrambling through what to do in the post-COVID world. So I'm really anxious to find out what else we can do more than other than doing more webinars and other than doing more research in health sciences. So I'm looking for good ideas from the panel. So now I hand it over to our vice chair, Tuncer Baykaş.
Thank you very much, Professor Urda. My name is Tuncer Baykaş, and as said, I am the IEEE Turkey Vice Chair, as well as IEEE Turkey Site Chair. As IEEE Turkey, we have more than 250 actually young professionals. So we have a huge group, and our young professionals affinity group is doing a lot during the COVID area. So and they are going to continue with this one. Another active affinity group is the Women in Engineering. So I'm really happy to see them together in an IEEE Day activity. And I would like to welcome Emre, AYRANCI, and Salima, KAİSSİ one more time. And I'm impatient to learn about what is going to happen after COVID-19 in both YP and WIE worlds. Thank you.
I apologize, I forgot to say welcome to our guests from California. So welcome, Emre and Salima.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now we can go on with introduction with the panelists. Let's start with Emre AYRANCI, IEEE YP 2021 Chair. Hi, Emre. Can you tell you about yourself? Tell us.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, as you can see from my name, so I started my IEEE career also in Turkey. I was one of the founders of Sabancı University IEEE student branch. It was a new university, so we were able to start the student branch there. And the following year, I was the chair, and actually with all Istanbul IEEE student branches back then. we were coming together, bringing up all the IEEE groups within Turkey. So that's how it started. Then I moved on to Region 8, and after volunteering, I moved to Denmark. I was starting another branch there and be the student representative there. Then I moved to Netherlands, become the Benelux student representative and YP or Gold back in time and chair. So definitely I started from the MGA side of the IEEE. And afterwards, as we can mention in the future as well, like I moved to the technical activities part, which was more get involved in my own society, which is Solid State Circuit Society, as I was doing microelectronics and doing chip design. So I become the YP rep of the society, and I started several events, which again, we will mention later, but one of the biggest one was the mentoring, where I go all around the world in all our conferences, holding mentoring sessions. And recently I come back to the global YP, being the vice chair and top representative. And next year, I'll be happy to take the flag and be the YP chair of all IEEE bodies around the world and around the societies. So, and then thanks to Simay and the IEEE Turkey YP for inviting me to this panel, so I can share more details of my experiences. So thanks everybody.
Thank you, Emre. Now we can go see IEEE YP representative. Hi, Salima.
Hi, Murat. Hi, everyone. Thank you very much for your invite. Very excited to be with I think I'm maybe the only non-Turkish person on the call. So very, very excited to be with my Turkish friend. Thank you again for having me on the call. So my name is Salima KAİSSİ. I am originally from Morocco. I currently live in the Bay Area in California in the US. I started with IEEE back to 2002 when I went to my engineering school in Morocco. And I started the first student branch in Morocco, and then joined the Morocco section board and helped other universities to create their own student branches. When I was the student branch chair in Morocco, I had the chance to travel to Paris for my first SBC student branch congress, and I had the chance to meet Emre the first time. So it's been 13 years. It's exciting to stay in touch with all these, wonderful IEEE friends. So yeah, from the student branch founder, the first one in Morocco, to helping other universities in Morocco to have their own student branches, to France. So I moved to France at some point when I graduated. I lived there for 4 years, and it was the Gold YP back then, as Emre said, used to be called Gold, graduate of the last decade. So I was the Gold chair in the France section, then joined Region 8 as a member of the Region 8 Gold committee. Then the young, I'll just maybe use the Young Professional, since not, Gold is the old name. So I became the YP committee chair. Then back to 2009, when I was in France, I had the idea of IEEE Day. So it was one day, I was just thinking about something, that could gather all the IEEE members around the world the same day, around the same activities or the same objective. And back then there was a challenge by MGA for ideas to gather members. And I submitted my idea, and I was very lucky to be one of the winning participants, and started the first IEEE Day ever. And I think it's been 10, 11 years since then. And I'm very, very glad to see where IEEE Day, arrived today, and it keeps evolving and improving. So yeah, after Region 8, I went back to Morocco, then came to the US, and they switched from MGA activities to more global committees. So I was member of the Public Visibility Committee, for the Nomination and Appointment Committee. And this year I have been member of the WIE, Women in Engineering Worldwide, representing WIE within the Young Professional Committee worldwide. And that's a lot of it about my path with IEEE.
Okay, thank you, Salima. Now we can go on with Simay, IEEE Turkey WIE chair. Hello, Simay. Hi.
Thank you very much. So it's a really pleasure to be host today, on behalf of Women Engineering and Young Professionals and Turkey section. So I joined IEEE in 2007 as a student member, as a student branch member in METU, and later on I just met with a global family, and today I have several hats, but I represent Women in Engineering as chair, Turkey section chair, and also a board member of Turkey section as treasurer. So, and we're hosting actually lifelong IEEE members. Like I met with Salima and Emre back in 2008 in London, Region 8 Student Branch Congress that time. And, you know, like we worked together in several roles, but we were connected lifelong since then. And now today we are hosting them. That's a pleasure. And I'm also excited for this discussion today because I've been also involved in young professionals and women engineering over the years with several roles. And also, you know, like, as I said, I just like work with Salima and Emre in different committees in past years. And it was a pleasure, you know, taking the flag from Salima for IEEE Day back in 2012, 2013, 2014. And today we are also celebrating IEEE Day by this chance. So we're also happy to, you know, share this enthusiasm to celebrate IEEE Day around the world. So thank you very much for being here. I'm excited for the upcoming discussions.
Okay, thank you, Simay. Now our fourth panelist, Ömer Melikgül, IEEE Turkey YP Chair. Hello, hi, Ömer.
Hi Murat, thank you very much for the word. I'm Ömer Melikgül, as you see. I am the chair of IEEE Turkey Young Professionals for TAMOS, and this year we did some activities, several activities, panels, workshops, and some other stuff. And besides this, I am the vice chair. I am the vice chair at IEEE Computer Society Student and Young Professionals Committee. I'm responsible for YP activities on the global side. That is what I can say. And today I would like to thank Salima and Emre for them participating to our panel. Thank you very much. That's what I can say.
Okay. Now we can go with our questions. Let's start with the first one. Actually, the first one is about your meeting with IEEE. How do you meet IEEE? But actually, we got the answers of these questions. But you can add tips for answering the next question. Now, the first question for you is, what inspired you the most as an IEEE volunteer? Let's start with Emre. Okay.
There's some music coming from outside. I'm in San Diego, so people are still partying here Sunday morning, but I hope it won't disturb the noise too much. So I think, yeah, as you mentioned, so we talk a bit about how we started IEEE, and what inspired us most is, I think Simay and Salima mentioned, like the networking, meeting the right type of people, and bringing those relationships in the future is definitely part of it. And especially me, myself, I changed several countries. As I mentioned, I lived in Turkey, and then I moved to Denmark, Netherlands, and now I'm in California in San Diego. And during these transitions, a good network of people and an organization like IEEE helped me a lot to meet and to make good connections all around the world and also in my local parts. So that's definitely one part that inspired me and keep me active in IEEE. And also like the volunteer leadership, that is already more than that. Like IEEE is a very important organization for many people, many engineers around the world. But for us as volunteer leaders, it is one step further, right? Like we improve ourselves, we make connections, but we can also get quite a bit of experience of leading volunteers around the world. And when myself, like I started as an engineer, I was designing microchips, and I published papers in conferences, and that was all great. But after a while, I wanted to change my career to more in the management side. And as everybody, the first question I get was like, oh, okay, do you have a management experience? Like, how can we count on you being a manager? And when I first tried to go through it, I was like, okay, managing people and your employees is very hard, very challenging task. But I work with volunteers and I motivated them, I coordinated and I managed them. So all my experiences at IEEE was definitely helping me to adjust that one. And all those experiences definitely helped me. Or we were trying to find a new VP for my company, and I was using my IEEE contacts for suggesting new VPs for the company. All those experiences are showing the importance of IEEE in our life. Like there is the obvious conferences and all these events, and there are many sub categories that IEEE helps, and seeing all through that through my career, that still keeps me inspired and be active in all parts of IEEE, I guess.
Okay, thank you. And maybe the music is also inspiring you in San Diego.
That helps as well.
If you're close to gas lamp area or something. Okay, it's a very good place. I've been there once. Okay, the same question for Salima. Can you give us the answer?
Sure. So definitely I have been inspired with so many things by my involvement with IEEE, but if I have to pick three things, I would go for people, travels, and organization. So for people is the way, the same thing as Emre said. It's IEEE has been for me just meeting wonderful people. I never remember I met someone who is not good in IEEE, and it's been more than 20 years that I have been involved in the organization. It just, you know, you met the best of the best people, modest people, hardworking, and on top of that, they are super smart. So I just felt so lucky meeting all these wonderful people, being part of IEEE. The second one is the travels. So I first started with IEEE only in Morocco, and then I like today I traveled to maybe 30 countries or so. More than half of them I went to for IEEE events and meeting, and that helped me. It's not traveling just to travel, but that helped me be open to other cultures, to meet other people, and as Emre said, these are also things that help us in our professional career. It helps us grow as people, like as individuals in general, but it's also help us when we have a work that is international, we go to different countries, we have a global role. It helps us understand different cultures and be able to manage almost all the situations when it comes to, you know, differences in cultures. And talking about travels, my very first trip to the US was with IEEE for the Section Congress. And that's when I met my husband. So that's the very first time I met him. And that's the reason I moved to the US today. So, and I live in the Bay Area again. And believe me, when I'm walking in downtown in San Francisco, I always remember this first trip for the Section Congress with IEEE, and I would have never thought I'll be living here today and being married in this city. So yeah, that was the travels. And the third one is the organization itself. I have been always extremely inspired by how strong the organization is, the processes, everything, how the company or how the organization is organized has been a great, learning experience for me that is helping me again in my professional career. And to connect that with today's topic is the COVID era. So we learned remote work in IEEE 20 years ago. When I was interviewed in companies where I was told, your manager will be in another country, will you be able to manage that? Your team will be spread over, different countries. Does it work for you? I always said I have been involved with IEEE. I have been involved in international projects where I never met people. Everything was done remotely with a difference in time zone and hours and countries and cultures. And we always made it work and we always made the best impact. So I think this is a good learning when we see people today trying to learn remote work. We already learned that with IEEE for anyone who has been involved, with the organization a while ago.
Thank you, Salima, for your answer. Same question to Ömer. What do you inspire you most as an IEEE volunteer?
Yeah, IEEE presents a global world, more global world, because it is the most, it is the greatest institution, technical organization all over the world. So, but beside the technical side, you can see that with the IEEE brand, the volunteers, IEEE volunteers, improve themselves much more than the others. For example, when you consider many people come together and to do something, generally it is difficult if you don't pay them. But with the IEEE brand, people motivate much more than ever, and people try to do their best. In fact, more than their best. So I really inspired the IEEE volunteership, by which people improve themselves so much. And if today we consider the COVID-19 era, and if you consider the post-COVID-19 era, you can see that many universities, many institutions, companies have difficulty to make the digital transformation. But if you consider the IEEE activities, IEEE always finds the solutions earlier than the others, with webinars, with conference, or some other policies. So the faster response to the change, the difficulties, makes me more inspired in IEEE. That is what I can say.
Thank you, Emre. Now, Salima.
I'd like to add a few things because many things have already has been said, and they were all well said. So when I joined IEEE, I didn't know I would have such a great worldwide family. So it was a way to be a global citizen. So, and I was not really aware. I was aware IEEE is international. I was not aware IEEE is that international. So the network is very important, and you know, like, and it's not just the one vertical structure. So like when you join IEEE, you have a lot of volunteer opportunity, and you have a lot of opportunity to work with the great people, and you have a chance to inspire people and get inspired. So like all of our stories are connected. So we all have some memories between each other, and we actually shared a lot of things and we worked together. So that is important. And you know, like even before COVID, so we already knew how to be global, how to be interactive, and also, you know, just like manage the crisis. So like because, you know, like we were by joining international committees and roles, like we were already we were meeting online worldwide with different time zones, so we were very used to this condition. So everything is very inspirational in IEEE. So like you have inspirational people around you, you have lots of things to learn between and from the other people around you. So well, it's really, really amazing to be here as a volunteer. That's why we are connected lifelong, because, you know, like it's not just one role and position, you take it that year and you just like spread over and you don't see each other. So like whenever you meet with someone in another meeting, so you recall all your memories and great memories, and you have no doubt you will meet again if you keep volunteering for IEEE. So that's amazing.
Thank you.
Let me continue then. Hello, everyone, let me say, and go on with it. You have your professional life, and being volunteer takes many time. And let me ask you that, how do you synthesize or stabilize your professional career with your IEEE volunteering life? Let me start with Emre. How do you synthesize or stabilize it?
Okay, sounds like I will start all the topics, but that's good. So yeah, I think that's a challenge for many IEEE volunteers, especially in the beginning of your career. If you are talking about YPs and students, that's where you need to justify all your actions to your managers and all your employees currently and future. And that becomes challenging in the beginning, especially if they don't know the benefits that you can get through IEEE and how you can actually channelize those to your near company. And in the beginning, it was a challenge for me as well to show them the benefits. And by time I learned more how IEEE helps me professionally, and as it was building up on myself, and then you also show it to your company that all those experiences, how it helps. And it turned out that, I mean, especially when I moved to the society side where I was directly involved with my own area topics, and I was going to the conferences and EdCom meetings and actually sitting in a table where I was sitting with all the professors that I read and studied the books from. So all those experiences and showing it to my companies that I worked at, that was already saying that, okay, all that volunteering work is actually part of your work and it helps you professionally. So that's the first step. But then there is a still challenge, right? They expect certain things from you as work, and you try to do your best, and you try to help IEEE as much as possible. And there comes the leadership part. So you spend that time, you sometimes give from your personal time, and how to balance it is you make the most of it. So you use your organizational skills and leadership skills to manage that time the best way and to make the most efficient about it, and to enable more young volunteers. Like, that's the one thing about volunteer leadership, right? It's not like you have to do every single thing. It's all about finding the right people, getting them to places, enabling them to do it. And the more experience you become in IEEE, you learn how to do it even better. And that's good for the future of IEEE as well. So you bring new volunteers back. So I think it's a combination of all these which bring me to a level that I'm still happy to volunteer even more with IEEE and contribute, and I can balance with my work, so I can be also very successful at my work at the same time.
Thank you, Emre. Let me add a bit question for you, Salima. And you say that you travel much. Isn't it hard for you to synthesize or stabilize your work with IEEE life? Traveling a lot.
Yeah, sure. So definitely, like everyone else, I have also been challenged by balancing, different activities. And I think for me, it was easier when I was student. It was easier for me when I first started working. I had no troubles with my work first, so all my troubles were for IEEE. So that was an easy way for me to balance. But at some point, the main challenge started when I changed my role and I joined another company where I had to travel a lot. So combining traveling for work and traveling with IEEE was not manageable anymore. So what I did at some point is I stepped back a little bit from the regional activities where I have to travel all the time to the global committees where the number of travels is limited. You have 1 to 2 travels maximum per year. So that was my way to balance. I just saw what works for me, even if I have very nice opportunities to grow with MG and regional activities. But I just reached this point that I couldn't, deliver anymore on all these travels, and they had to pick my battles. So as I said, I stepped back a little bit from the region, even if it was hard and they loved being involved and traveling and supporting people, but I couldn't do it anymore at some point. So global committees was a way for me to limit travels. And also global committees have staff member who help. As Emre said, you don't do all the work yourself. You're more there to help and coach and help with the strategy than the execution. So that helps a lot. So I think the net is time management and picking your battle, because there are always a lot of opportunities. We need to pick the one that works for us, the one that we can also deliver for, because being only involved like in many things but not being able to deliver is not a good thing in my point of view. So it's better to take maybe or stay focused on 1 or 2 things and deliver. If you can focus on more, that's fine. But if you're challenged, then you have to make some decisions and pick your battles. Definitely not an easy thing, and it's like an ongoing challenge. But as Emre said, we learn how to play with it, and with time and experience, we understand where we can deliver the best, value, and where we can make this work with the professional life, but also personal life. Like with time, you get also family. I don't have kids yet, but I know women with kids, they're also even more struggled. So I think, we just need to always step back and see where we are from our personal, professional, and volunteering experience, and try to pick, where we can bring a value without having a problem with the balance. It will never get to the perfect balance. It will be always challenges, but let's minimize, I would say, the challenges and not leave, you know, just struggling and trying to solve everything. And yeah, time, organization, and staying focused are my advice to be able to make this balance a little bit working better.
Thank you, Salima. Let me continue with Ömer. How do you synthesize or stabilize?
Yeah, that is perhaps the tougher question, the toughest question of this IEEE life. In fact, we can separate it before COVID-19 and after the COVID-19 era, post-COVID-19 era. Before COVID-19, we need to travel. We need to travel more than ever, because we need to travel the different cities. So we need to do some of our jobs during our travel, during bus or during some other travel. But after we consider the other part, especially after the COVID part, you can see that all people, all the institution make the digital transformation. So we need to work much more than ever. If we consider from the academic side or university side, we need to separate online courses, the other things. So beside this so much work, we need to consider IEEE part, IEEE life as an entertaining life. If we consider IEEE life as a second job, then we cannot create a new time. So I think making our IEEE volunteership more entertaining, then we can balance our professional life and IEEE life. And if we consider the post-COVID-19 era, we had some other difficulties. For example, if we sometimes we find the right people to the right work, as Emre said. For example, we organize some webinars, but when we call our moderators, they say that we are now in quarantine with our family, so we need to do moderate those activities. Or sometimes we call some other moderators, and they say that now my uncle died. So these are the tragic part of this COVID-19 issue. So that is very difficult for all the IEEE volunteers, but with the IEEE motivation, inspiration, I think we can manage these difficult, these tough times with a new evolution, and the result will be good, I think.
Thank you, Ömer. Simay, let me go on with you.
Sure. So actually, you know, for a young professional especially, you know, like when you're a very fresh young professional, because young professionals are 15 years after the graduation. So in the first years, you know, when you start in the industry, because I started my career in the industry like after the graduation immediately. So it's like if you already volunteer in the student branch, so you apply all your skills, organizational skills, time management, and everything to your work. So it's very challenging to be a young professional in the industry, but you know, like you somehow, you know, just take advantage of the skills you gain, and you still enjoy volunteering. There's no perfect balance for everything. After a while, if you have been working in the same sector industry, so you already have the skills, but life is life. Learning is lifelong. So you still need to upskill and reskill yourself when you go for a new challenge, new adventure, and you make a new decision, and when you take a new role. So all the skills that you gain from IEEE volunteering, so you always have a chance to apply, but IEEE is somehow your secret garden, because you know you still have your space. If you're already enjoying the volunteering, you have your space to grow still, and you want to balance your life, your private life, your work, and IEEE volunteering, and you have that time management skill, but it's not perfect. You have to prioritize the things, you know, like as Emre, Salima, Ömer, they already said, you know, you you make decision about the commitments, because in IEEE, before you take a volunteer role, you know the details and the commitments and how much time will consume. So you make the decisions that year according to accordingly with considering all the other aspects. So this is how you balance, and sometimes you step back and you just sometimes take more volunteer commitments. So you find a way to balance. And it doesn't have to be perfect, because we're just like always enjoying and trying to be beneficial for the society and the people around us when we volunteer. So that's really important to be aware, to enjoy how we enjoy being volunteer and how beneficial it is for the society around us and ourselves in today and tomorrow. But volunteering during the COVID era, still post-COVID and COVID era, because we are still there is no sharp transition between. So for the volunteering and work, now we are all more virtual. So everything is more virtual. So like time management is and all the skills we gain in the past is no longer valid. So we are just like, but we were if you're aware of that IEEE's global community, so we as it was said before, so you take the global role, like not MGA, maybe the global committees or regional committees, how many times you need to travel, because it's pretty much same every year. But this year, so like every events and meetings are more virtual, so we are meeting online, and our work is also consumes a lot of virtual time. So we are all learning, but I think it was also a big chance. We had a chance to connect as like what we are doing now today. So we thanks to our network that we gain and we have all around the world, so we manage our time to be more virtual as well with these kind of activities. So and when I was traveling for work, because also my work requires a lot of travel in the past, also today, but I no longer travel that much. Nobody does. So but when I was traveling for work, I was trying to see my friends from my IEEE that I connected from the congresses, events, or the committee meetings in the past. But like you cannot see everybody at the same time, even for the sections congresses or regional meetings and so on. But today, by being online, so we really have opportunity to connect. So it's challenge, that's also an opportunity. So same for IEEE, maybe tomorrow, next year and upcoming years. So we will find a balance, because we need to prioritize our responsibilities, our work and life.
As Smile has mentioned, COVID-19 has a great impact on our lives. And next questions are about related to it. Now we can continue with the next question. What were the most challenging experience of being an IEEE volunteer in pre-COVID-19 era and post-COVID-19 era? Now this question goes to Salima.
Sure, thank you, Murat. So I think pre-COVID, there was some examples maybe already shared, like travels and time management and all of that. And post-COVID, as you may said, we may not be talking about post-COVID yet. We're still in it. So, and I think we're all learning. So I don't think we can say today they are the solution and this is what working. I think we have been learning in the last few months and we improved, but we're still like really learning every day. I think I definitely agree with Simei talking about the opportunities, but also the challenges for being able to do things online. While you can do a lot and you can talk to many people without travels, there's also what maybe you have heard, the Zoom fatigue. It's becoming a little bit, tiring to be in front of the screen all the time. For example, this applies to, it's an example for my work, but it applies to volunteering and anything else. first we were encouraged to use video so we can see each other because we don't meet in person like before. But at some point people got tired from Zoom, and now we're like encouraged to feel free. Like if you want to use the video, use it. If not, turn it off. So I just feel like the main challenge is just being in front of the computer all the time, all day long, and also not having limits. So before, we have an activity for volunteering. We travel, we do it, we come back, we're done. We go to work, we finish end of the day, we take, we commute back home, and we feel this break and this, limit between different focuses. Today, there is no limit. We wake up from the morning, working. It's just like hard to put boundaries between the volunteering, the personal life, the work life. I think that's been the challenge for me. With that said, I think I'm learning, like I'm talking about myself. I was just going with the flow and I felt I'm a little bit tired. Now I am proactively putting the boundaries. Like I will take this break for myself. I will take this break for volunteering. I will go for a walk. I will, turn the camera off when I don't feel like I am in the mood of being in front of the video. So I think these are like the little things that are helping to overcome the challenges. But as I said, we're learning and adapting. And I think a lot will come going forward, but it's been a little bit overwhelming, and it's up to us. Again, it's challenges and opportunities, and then we just need to balance. If we just see the challenges, we will stay here. But these challenges are opportunities to be better and to, grow, and we just need to try to turn these challenges into opportunities. And there is no one way to do that. We're learning, doing it a little by little, and hopefully we'll be better per people after post-COVID. Yeah, so hopefully there will be a post-COVID sometime soon.
Okay, thank you, Salima. Same question for Emre.
Yeah, I think I would definitely agree with Salima. So, I mean, the challenges is like our lives are changing. Like, for example, me, myself, like this is the shortest hair I ever get. Like before COVID, my friends would ask me, oh yeah, let's cut our hair and everything. No, I like my hair. And now I don't want to even go to hairdresser anymore. So I just go this way and changing everything. And what about IEEE? So before COVID, yeah, the challenges was like to get new members, to get more volunteers being active, and making sure IEEE is stronger was always a challenge. It was something we were dealing with all the time. It will be even more challenging now with post-COVID during the COVID times, because now our members don't go to conferences as much. One of the motivations of being IEEE member is gone. So now we need to find more ways of attracting them, more benefits to get them on. But there is also a benefit, right? Like before, when we make a local event or organize an event, people need to travel there and go there. So the access was not for everybody. And now that all our events are like this one, broadcasted online, or you can always go and watch it, now we have a chance to reach more IEEE members, more potential members. And that's the time where we can actually use those advantages and maybe make it a new challenge for us and take advantage of it. And me, myself, as I mentioned, like I'll be the YP chair in 2021. And I'm hoping that I will take our YP committee and see IEEE coming from this during COVID area where everything is online, we are always in front of, and move back to the face-to-face meeting structure. And that will be a big challenge. That will be a hard call in several times. But I believe that's important for IEEE and all volunteers to reach that level as well. And health is first, for sure. And that transition will be another challenge. And now we are going through all conferences. Like, should we do it online? Should we do it hybrid? Or how we should actually move face-to-face? That will be the challenge coming up. And hopefully we'll make a very successful transition as whole of IEEE.
Thank you, Emre. Now, Ömer, what can you say about it?
Yeah, in fact, we can say that before COVID-19 era, inviting people to the seminars or making face-to-face events have some difficulties, like some getting the foundations funding. And besides this, you need to invite many people from different places, different cities, and making a face-to-face organization, the traditional face-to-face organization, have some problems adjusting the right time for everyone. But if we consider the post-COVID-19 era, then you can make the events online. So generally people have more time for online events because people can participate in events from their home by drinking tea or coffee easily. They can participate in the top conferences, top technical IEEE events in their home. But motivating people, motivating your team, motivating the volunteer is more difficult when we compare it with the previous one, because as I said in previous questions, we have a difficult transition, and in these tough times, people have less time except their working time. So we need to understand our volunteers, their working conditions, their lives. As a group leader, as a YP chair, I need to consider all the conditions of all the feelings of my volunteers. So that is the most difficult part in the post-COVID-19 era. But I think that as time passes and as we look for the solutions, and as we get used to these online events in the post-COVID-19 era, everything will be better. Yeah, that's that.
Okay. What would you like to say about it, Simay?
So they're well said, but that fatigue is real. So by being in front of camera all the times, you really need to balance your time and prioritize, and you need to have your own awareness of that. Otherwise, that is really easy to get tired from everything, because there are a lot of opportunities by being virtual in the post-COVID era, but people already you need to motivate your people and team, and we have limited time for the work, for volunteering and everything, and it was always possible to be online and deliver speeches, attend meeting all day long, but probably hold the meetings and the work and the volunteering, they're all back to back. So you have to set your own boundaries. So there is no boundaries in this era. It's good, so you can attend a meeting in Region 10 and Region 9 or Region 1 through 7 at the same time, in the same day. That it wasn't possible. It was possible, but we were not aware. So now we are aware. So we can attend several conferences in the same day. If you don't like, you can attend 3 conferences in the same time or meeting. You just change the session. You balance your time. But after a while, it's tiring. So and we were not that tired anymore. So of course, it's like traveling itself is tiring, and just like driving to work would be tiring, spending time in the traffic and so on. But you take a little break and just like focus on something else. That's why we have to find out, by being virtual all day long, you have, when you have back-to-back meetings from work and IEEE, we need to have our own balance. And if you're not really driving to work, or if you're not taking a flight somehow, you need to go for a walk or find a way to just enjoy another thing, so then you can be more efficient for upcoming meetings. So everybody needs to find their own strategy and balance to be more efficient and not to get so tired from this era, not to lose the motivation. So when we are leading a volunteer committee or a role, so it was said, so it's not easy to motivate your team because we no longer meet for the coffee breaks. So and everybody's so virtual. We're seeing each other, but there must be a way. So we shouldn't forget to take a little breaks for our own and balance it. So then will be more fun, and you can be more efficient for upcoming years, terms, and tomorrow.
Thank you. Let me ask a question for Salima and Simay first. We all have talked about the challenges of the COVID-19, but let's continue with the visions. What is your vision for IEEE Women in Engineering and Young Professionals? We all are young professionals right now. Future directions of post-COVID era. Salima, let's start with you. What is your vision for these three groups?
Sure. And I'll focus maybe on the women in engineering and the women in general. So I will just quote something here that I read this morning in the UN Women, the United Nations Women.org. So they said that across every sphere, from health to the economy, security to social protection, the impact of COVID are exacerbated for women and girls simply by the virtue of their sex. And they also read on the CDC, which is the Centers for Disease and Control here in the US, that 2 out of 3 caregivers are women, and there is an impact of COVID-19 on women, a little bit maybe more than men. There is impact on everyone for sure, but I think that women by nature will always think about, and you see this in the statistic, about giving, about caring about the others, and you see 2 out of 3 caregivers are women. Like my vision or my point of view today, we need to continue whatever we're doing before about having equal opportunities for men and women. But one thing I think we should focus on a little bit more post-COVID or during COVID is the mental health. I think the women is also caring about others. We need to take care of women. We need to have support system, but we also need to educate women about taking care of themselves. And that self-care is not selfish. I myself learned that the hard way. Just giving, and then at some point you struggle yourself, and you need to take care of yourself by yourself, and we're not educated to do that. I think we just need to educate women to take care of themselves so they can take care of the others, and definitely focus more on the mental health while we continue doing everything we have been doing pre-COVID.
Thank you, Salima. Simay, what's your
That was great. Thank you, Kardan. And that was a great point, Salima. So, and actually, the argument about women's responsibilities and so on, even before COVID, now after in the post-COVID era, we doubled those arguments because, like self-care and the mental health, like the responsibilities and women's life, balancing a woman's life is now harder. Considering all the dimensions, and so this is really important to educate everyone and sharing care, because like by sharing and caring, so actually we raise the awareness. So here is not just for IEEE's Women in Engineering, also all the initiatives around the world, they're very important, but for IEEE, IEEE's Women in Engineering and women-related groups under technical societies. So we call them Women in Engineering organizational units. So it's also important to raise awareness through them. So like Women in Engineering, like whole virtual, like how to say, IEEE Women in Engineering leadership summits and leadership conference itself and all the workshops, they all went to virtual during this year. So it's they're just like still planning physical activities the next year, but that will be also transition. And during the webinars and events, so we connected all around the world and hold the Women in Engineering affinity groups, not only one section, so many sections, like collaborate between and try to raise awareness and give that the support to members, not only women, because women engineering is also for men. So we have equality in it's just the raising awareness for the equality issues. So and we just like probably women engineering is one of the organizational units under IEEE raise up those issues about the mental health support, like going back to work after, not only post-COVID, but always like, you know, just like after the maternity leave and so on. So daily, you know, just like psychological support and relative issues, they're all addressed by many women engineering organizational units and affinity groups all around the world. So probably this network is also very important to give that support and solve and address those issues and raise awareness, educate people, give mentorship opportunities and collaborate, and raising up the cultural issues also to solve them. So in the post-COVID area, women engineering roles will be also important to address many things.
Okay. Can you tell us your vision for YP, considering, you know, COVID-19 effects, Emre?
Yeah, so basically, I mean, first of all, I should start with, like, even if I'll talk more about the YP side, I'll definitely resonate fully with women engineering. And next year, we will be very open to collaborate and support all the women engineering activities on that area. So that I think YP committee and women engineering committees, as we can see from this event, like we can definitely work together, collaborate together to make it easier for all our members going forward in the post-COVID area. For the young professional side, there is additional part, right? Like, I mean, again, our members are relatively more, like, less experienced, and as the economy and everything about COVID affecting the jobs, there could be risk related to that one. So that will be one area we will try to help. Like, mentoring has been one of my focus, as also in my society. And I think next year as YPs, we will focus even more this micro mentoring events where we can help, like the experienced members can help the unexperienced members, or vice versa. Any experienced member can help each other as well. So we will pass through these hard times all together. I think that will be one of the challenges. And using the advantage of post-COVID area, as we talk about, like all the challenges we know about, but people are now more and more involved in more online activities, and mentoring become even more challenging because internet always has been full of information and resources and everything. Now it is even more, while everybody is creating more and more online content, and mentoring and helping our young members to reach the right content for their careers, for their IEEE involvement, and for their life in general will be part of our focus going forward. I guess that will be all part of it. And maybe most of you know about the volunteering platform that we started as YP within IEEE. Now it becomes more open to everybody. That's also something where you can be finding more volunteer opportunities online, and all online webinar and this kind of mentoring parts will be focused on more of our young members going forward, and hopefully pass to a post-COVID area where things are getting slowly back to normal. We will work all together on that one as well.
Thank you. What about your vision, Ömer?
Yeah, in fact, I want to consider it from both academia side and YP side, I said it. In fact, in YP, generally we consider some YP meetups because when I see some top conference from communication conference and computer society conference and electromagnetic wave conference, they make a huge meetups jointly with these conferences. So I think if the conference become more online and more developed, then making online meetup will be more comfortable than making the face-to-face meetup, organized face-to-face meetup. So the number of meetups, this opportunity will increase. I think may increase. But if we consider the other side of IEEE, if we consider the academic side, recently I submit some papers and saw when I check the recent journal publication policy of IEEE, they do not. They start to not consider the extending the conference papers. They do not allow to submit the extension of the conference papers to their journals. So that is the problematic part. If the academicians cannot submit their extended papers to the journals, the papers extended from the conference papers, then the participation, the registration for that conference will decrease. If the registration will decrease, in fact, in these tougher times, then the future of IEEE conference may be problematic. So I think IEEE journals, IEEE journal, the people who consider, who evaluate IEEE journal policy need to reconsider their policies to make the conference more strong. In fact, in these tougher times, because if this conference, if the registration to this conference decrease, then making the chance of making the online meetups will decrease. So this would be very difficult for our YP volunteers. And besides this, yeah, Emre said that mentoring program, but making the mentoring program have some other difficulties. But we can also consider this program in different sites of IEEE, and we do some webinars, but sometimes the people attention to those webinars may decrease because they want to be more active. So the variation, maybe we need to look for some different type of activities. And also again, if we consider conference, I participate in a huge conference of IEEE ComSoc, IEEE PMRC, and I see that the participation to that conference decreased to 1/5. So if we look the conference, we need to find a way for people to get involved in those conferences more actively, because if people see that I cannot participate in this conference, I cannot make the networking in those conferences or in those online events, then why do I need to do? I need to participate in those events. So the attention will decrease. So we need to find a solution to this. But currently, as I see, we cannot find an efficient solution to this problem.
Thank you, Emre. As you know, experienced IEEE members, you have some suggestions. The next question is about that. Your advice to our volunteers in post-COVID-19 era. Let's start with Salima.
Sorry, Murat, can you please repeat the question again?
Okay. Your advice to our volunteers in post-COVID-19 era.
Creative. So Omer was talking about some challenges. I think the challenges are real and we need to be creative about finding the right solution to these challenges. I think the other thing we should, for young, fresh graduate and students, I think they should use this moment to learn more. There is a lot of content online and there is a lot that we don't learn at schools. There are a lot of skills we lack at any school in any country. So I think we should use this time to learn and improve and do better. And the third one, I think for young professional, I know there is a real challenge for employment. Not everyone is able to find a job, and even people who have a job today may lose it. I think being involved even more than before with volunteering will help a lot. Imagine if you are not finding a job for a year, but you are volunteering during that year. When you're interviewing after a year, you will not say, I was just unemployed. No, I was unemployed, didn't have a salary, but I was busy in this professional project with IEEE. And I think this helps, you know, make the resume not having some empty spaces. And it's also helped growing. It's not just to say I have been busy, but I learned, I managed teams, I managed budgets, I was exposed to international projects. So I think for people who are still looking for a job, being involved in volunteering more than before is definitely something they should be doing to help them with their career and looking for jobs. So yeah, and that's kind of my advices for the students and the young professional, you know, perseverance, turning challenges to opportunities, and everything should be good.
Salima. Now, your advice, Emre, to our volunteers.
Yeah, definitely agree with Salima. So like, yeah, these are challenging times, but there is always opportunities when this kind of time comes. And this is one of those times that we see in our lifetime. And there will be always new openings, and volunteering can help you to be more connected to that one. So we need to find solutions, new solutions to the problems that we didn't know it was existing in such a huge part. And volunteering and being connected to all these people can help you to be more connected, come up with new solutions. And as we were mentioning before, like the traveling was one part of your IEEE volunteering role, and this was advantage for some of us, but this was a challenge for some of us as well, especially if we are getting more in our career. There are like work-related travels as well. And now you can actually volunteer and take leadership roles without as much traveling at the time being. You can show how you can contribute. And as I said, we shouldn't think that this will be forever, right? Things will change, and I'm hoping that it will change within a year. So when this time comes, all your volunteering efforts will be again highlighted, and we will be able to travel, meet face-to-face, and bring back all the experiences we accumulated during these times and bring IEEE even further. So again, don't get disappointed. It's even better time to be volunteering now. Just get involved more and try to make a difference. Try to make a difference in your own professional life. And together with IEEE, we are together and stronger. So it's a much better place to make a difference as well.
I certainly agree with you. Ömer, now your advices.
Yeah, if we consider again the post-COVID-19 era, we have a transformation, and so we have new opportunities. I think the IEEE volunteers should consider the opportunities coming in the new era. And also, this is a tough time. But tough time present for the leaders, for the chairs to face difficulties. So I think facing difficulties improve the leadership skills. So I think as IEEE volunteers, if we face with those difficulties, so our leadership skill will increase much more than ever. So I think we need to consider the crisis itself as an opportunity, I think. So that is what I can suggest to IEEE volunteers. They look for the opportunities to handle the problems, and they should consider the solutions. If there is no solution for their problem, then they should think the solutions to their problems. Thus, IEEE and IEEE groups can develop better and can adapt themselves to the new era, I think.
Thank you. Lastly, Simai.
Well, actually, COVID is hard times for everyone, not just for IEEE volunteers, not for just us. So like we all went through the similar path. So like, for IEEE volunteers, like if you're volunteering these days, so considering all the challenges, I think we took advantage of being volunteering. We all enjoyed for our commitments by being virtual, meeting with everyone. Like we didn't feel lonely, so we were connected. So collaboration is really important. So we need to enjoy what we are doing. So it's not just the COVID is just not for us, not for individually yours, for yours, if you're listening. So we enjoy being in United, and we enjoy collaborating with others worldwide. It's same for everyone. So like, and so it was already addressed. So like we all have difficulties and troubles. So like, so unemployment is an issue all around the world. So it's not an individual problem anymore. So probably for many people, there's a risk to lose jobs. So, but IEEE network and all the skills we gain, if you are able to balance your life and your volunteer commitments, so keep doing that. And just like try to see the positive side of those challenges, because there are more opportunities than challenges being IEEE volunteer.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. As you all know, we have some student members of IEEE. We all are graduated and the student members. So what are your advices to our student members during COVID era and post-COVID era? Let's start with Emre right now.
Yeah, I think so. I think we kind of mentioned it, but yeah, sure. Student members and graduate student members are a very important part of IEEE, and they are our future. And all members, experienced members of IEEE, is trying to open up the way for them to bring up. And yes, they are now studying in unprecedented times. They need to take some of their courses online. They cannot go to the even lab as much, depending on where they are in the world. So, and they are coming to a new world where the economy is changing, and how we don't know actually how it will look for them for new jobs and everything. But the point is, don't lose your hope, especially as engineers. Like luckily, as IEEE members, most of them are engineers in different areas. We are the ones who can actually work remotely relatively easier. So yes, for all around the world, it's hard for the economy and jobs, but engineers, we can still create, we can still collaborate with especially having more familiar with online communication. So be ready for these challenges, but you will start for a new world. So there will be new challenges, and it's for them to solve. So I think that's a good time. It's an opportunity. You might be coming to a mature job market where most of the problems are solved, and you try to find new problems to solve as a new graduate student member, especially. And now the world brings us many, many new challenges and problems. So now it's time to focus on them, try to find solutions to make world even a better place in the post-COVID area, and use IEEE and take advantage of IEEE resources while doing so, and reach out to any of us. We are here as IEEE volunteer leaders to make it happen. And if you want to collaborate or if you want to contribute more, reach out to us, and we will be happy to hear your ideas, because you are potentially seeing the world a bit different than how we are now, even if we were student members just a few years earlier. Bring up your ideas, and we'll make IEEE and the world a better place in the post-COVID area. That's our goal.
Thank you. Salima, what's your opinion?
Yeah, so I also want to add my voice to Emre to just encourage the students. I think I always feel like it's a struggle for everyone, but I feel it's a struggle more for students than I don't study today, but I just remember the days I was studying, and if I had to do it remotely and not meeting, you know, all the colleagues and the professors and all of that, I think it's maybe a little bit more struggle for them than us, but they just need to keep up and persevere. I think they should be using IEEE to make a difference in their resume. at the end, everyone gets a degree, but what makes a difference is what we do outside of the school. I think keeping or stay involved in volunteering will help them have a better resume and higher chance for employment after the graduation. So yeah, I think they should be using AWS to make a difference. Why they're different than others in the resume, and also kind of think a little bit about what they are studying today and how they can how to explain that. So COVID is impacting many areas, but it's also making a lot of like areas in other fields having more opportunities. They're doing more business than before. They're hiring more than before. And then just an example, and I'm not saying this should be the the recommendation, but just an example. If you're in computer science, there is a lot of opportunities today in cybersecurity. People are working remotely, employees are working remotely, and companies want secure software for their employees to be able to access remotely. So maybe in computer science, try to widen a little bit your skills in the cybersecurity, for example. That's just an example. Look for areas where there are opportunities today because of COVID-19 and try to learn, so you're bringing a value and helping solve a challenge that COVID brought to us. So yeah, I think just again being creative and trying to see the positive side. Anything that happens has a negative and positive side. The negative sides get to us for sure, it's normal, but we should quickly switch to see what are the opportunities and how we can turn that to more as I said, opportunities than challenges. It's not easy, but if we persevere, if we proactively think about that, we will get there. So I'm just wishing them all the best in these crazy times, but I'm sure they will do great.
Thank you, Salima. Simai, what are your advices?
So for students, as IEEE member or IEEE student branch volunteer, so as it was also mentioned, so it's hard for everyone. It's not just for one student, one for a young professional, for another professional, it's hard times for everyone. But as IEEE member or IEEE student branch volunteer, you have a chance to make difference these days. So you have a chance to learn a lot of things. You have a global network. So you still have opportunity to organize. If you're a student branch volunteer, you have a huge network all around the world. You can connect through these tools and programs like speakers bureaus, lectures, programs, DLPs, and so you can connect with the experts from different parts of the world for your student branch activities. If you're an individual member also, so like I assume you're an individual member by being a volunteer, so like there are a lot of opportunities and learning tools in IEEE. So like you have a chance to improve your skills online. And of course, like it's not easy to study your courses online also these days. So it's same for professionals. Like we are always in front of camera. So like for you also, you need to do a lot of online courses. But if you want to improve more skills, IEEE gives you a lot of tools. And if you're a student branch volunteer, comparing to many other clubs in your university, probably IEEE gives you more benefits and more opportunity from this global network. So try to see the positive things and opportunities from this network, because all IEEE volunteers have the same opportunities with you. So like they are ready to support you. So whole members and professional members or volunteer leaders. So they're also thinking how to bring more opportunities for the members and the volunteers as well. So like try to search all the other organizational unit benefits for your student branch. And during the post-COVID time, during the post-COVID times also, like there are new programs coming up to support the organizational units, student branches, and individual student members also. So you will always have this opportunity. So you need to enjoy and overcome all the negative sides.
Thank you, Simai. Amar, what's your advices?
Thank you very much. We can consider from both sides, both graduate student member side and student member side. If we consider the graduate member side, IEEE have new opportunities. IEEE start their mega journal IEEE Access in 2013. But now in this year, IEEE start 14 open access journal, open journal, IEEE open journals. So the IEEE grad student members can subscribe those journals, can access those journals without any extra subscription. So accessing 15 IEEE journals with free is an important opportunity. Also, I can say that especially for the IEEE Communication Society ComSoc student members, IEEE ComSoc, many IEEE ComSoc conference became free for the IEEE ComSoc student members this year. So participating those conference free is was an important opportunity for them. You can compare them with the previous one. In previous years, participating to those conferences costs nearly $400 US without papers. So when we consider those sides, from those sides, then you can see that how IEEE provides a good opportunity to their student members in this post-COVID-19 era. And if we consider from the IEEE student member side, they try to take their bachelor degree, and we all passed those times. Those are difficult times, very difficult times, and they also try to do activities in their student branch. We all can see those difficulties, but beside those difficulties, they also should consider the future trends because as the time passes, everything become more complicated. For example, 5 years ago, we need to consider we can consider AI, blockchain, or cybersecurity issues, or communication, robotics separately. But now we need to make research. We need to consider those topics as an integrated form. Now we need to consider AI as a supplementary tool for the blockchain and cybersecurity issues. Also, we need to consider the communication, the sixth generation communication with the robotic networks, especially UAV networks, for example. These are some of the examples, some technical examples, and they may be extended for the different IEEE societies. And besides this, I can say that even our habits will change. For example, pre-COVID-19 era, we can take some goods from shopping centers. Now we order them from the online companies, especially when we consider Amazon or some other stuff. And those companies need secure supply chain. So for to obtain those secure supply chain and to consider the Industry 4.0 era, people need to focus more on cybersecurity and especially blockchain. And also we can consider blockchain for the healthcare solutions in this post-COVID-19 era. I count some of the new technologies, some of the research, hot topics and research trends, but of course they may be extended. And I think the young guys, the student members should focus more than us because they are the future. We are young, but they are younger than us. So always the younger people need to face more difficulties than the others. So yeah, that's all.
Great advices, thank you. It was the last question of our panel. Do you have any last words to our watchers?
We can give, actually, as far as I know, our section chair and vice chair also have some comments and questions. So we can give floor to first.
I can go first.
Sure, floor is yours.
So I have a question for Ömer. Ömer, you said fewer conferences are offering journal publications now for extended versions of conference papers, selected conference papers. So what's your explanation for that? So why so?
As I understand, previously people published their journal papers extending from 2 conferences, not only 1 conference, even 2 conference papers or from 3 conference papers. But recently we can see that IEEE do not count the conference paper as do not allow the extension to the conference paper. They say that we strictly consider the 30 below 30% similarity score for that. But for the extended conference paper, if you extend your work from a conference, IEEE conference, and they allow to 60%, because they say that you need to increase 30% or 40%. But as I see, for example, from some past journal, Power and Energy Society journal, and for example, some IEEE communication journal, like IEEE Transactions on Broadcasting, they say that we do not allow to extending those papers. You need to keep it below 30%. And these make people...
What changed in terms of these percentages? Like when we compare pre-COVID and post-COVID?
Yeah. Okay, I can connect them. The thing is, in these tough times, people can access the IEEE conference in a cheaper way. That's okay. But also people lose the advantage of networking in those conferences. So that is another side. So if we consider total attention of academicians to the conference, then we can see that, especially in this year, it reduced. And you can obviously see that. And I say that if IEEE start to do not allowing to journal submissions by extending from the conferences, their own conferences, then participating, paying the money, participating to those conferences to present the paper in those conferences will be difficult, and people may start to not to participate to those conferences, because if you consider your work in conference as a separate work, then people cannot paraphrase so much, because we can see that many academicians, many IEEE fellows publish more than 5 or 6 papers in a topic, in a problem. So if we count conference paper like journal papers, then the conference lose the advantage of taking the draft of the academician's work. So if the conference lose those advantage, then the IEEE, the academicians will start to not to participate those conferences, and if the attention to participation to those conferences decrease, then our meetups, making a online meetup jointly with those conference will be more difficult, because if the attention decrease, then the number of participants decrease, then we cannot attract people to our online meetups.
You're saying the quality of papers, conference papers, are going down?
Yeah.
In the era of online conferences.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and also advantage of conference decrease. If the advantage of conference decrease, then academicians may start to not prefer to present their work in conference, submitting their work directly to the journals. So if the if the participation to those conference decrease, then how can we make our online meetups jointly with those conferences? That is my concern.
I see. Thank you. That's it from me.
Before we continue, we just need to, Salima needs to leave, so we can say goodbye to Salima. We will continue with the final words, and because Tunçer Baykaş will also give the final words on everyone. So I don't want to keep Salima because there's another appointment she needs to catch.
Thank you very much, Simai. So just wanted to thank everyone for having me. And if there's anything I can do, please feel free to reach out. And wishing all the best to all the young professionals and women in engineering, whether they are students or already in their early career. So all the best to everyone. And thanks again for having me.
Thank you, Salima.
Bye,
Thank
everyone.
you. Thanks, Salima. Thank you for coming.
Thanks. Bye.
Kardan, floor is yours, so you can continue with Tunçer Baykaş.
Actually, well, I didn't have any question. I was going to thank Salima and Emre for their wonderful talks, and all of the moderators and speakers. So it was a really nice IEEE Day celebration, and I would like to mention our next IEEE event, which will happen on the IEEE Day on the 6th of October. We are going to celebrate IEEE Day with the people who established IEEE Turkey section. So our first year 11th honorable will be with us, and also two of the people who founded the IEEE Turkey section. It will be at 8:30 p.m. in Turkey, Istanbul time. So I would like to invite you all. It will be live from our YouTube channel as well. So thank you again one more time.
Thank you very much for all our panelists and IEEE Turkey section for this great panel. We had celebrated IEEE Day earlier, this 2020. If you have any last words about the topic or the IEEE Day or any other things, let me give it to you and end the panel. Emre, do you have any last words?
Basically, I would like to thank you guys again to invite me for this panel. So it's great to be together with IEEE Turkey section members, both YPs and women engineering. I'll have a challenge next year, being and coordinating the all global YP members, and I will be happy to have all of your support. Any ideas however we can make IEEE and YP better? Feel free to reach out to me from LinkedIn or any other means, and hopefully we'll be even stronger and make it much better in the post-COVID area altogether. So definitely, and yeah, it's a pleasure and honor to be back in the Turkey section to give a speech as a IEEE YP chair.
Thank you.
Thank you, Emre. Good luck with your new role.
Thank you very much. I would like to thank Salima and Emre for their participation to our panel, and thank you for their advice. And they are really very good and important advice, I think. And also, I would like to thank our audience who listened to us, in fact, this night. And I can say that this is a tough time, but we can, if we benefit from these opportunities, in fact, these challenges, then we will develop more. So look for the opportunities and look for the challenges.
Thank you, Emre.
Thank you, Emre. Thank you, Simai. Thank you all, Murat, Kardan, for organizing it.
This is the last words? Simay, do you have any last word?
I just want to thank you, everyone, and whoever watched us and listened to us, for all the audience. And actually, it was really great to connect with old friends and also IEEE leaders. So like we're really privileged to have Emre and also Salima here. And we, on behalf of Turkey section, and also for the women engineering in particular. So like it was a really great collaboration for this event, so between young professionals and women engineering, and we have a great support from IEEE Turkey section for all the initiatives. So when we collaborate, we're getting stronger. So IEEE gives us this opportunity to connect, network, collaborate, and make difference. So let's enjoy for all those opportunities from this network. And thank you everyone for being here. And Emre, we congratulate again for your new role, and we look forward to next year. I'm sure you will have a great leadership.
Thank you, Simay. Thank you.
And very special thanks to Tunçer Baykaş and Fatih Urda being here to support on behalf of.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So this is the end of our panel. Thanks for all your watching and our panelists.